today's video, I'm going to show you inside my freelance makeup kit. We're going to declutter products that I haven't been using or are past their expiry dates, and we're going to filter in some new makeup that I've purchased over the past little while. My kit has also become very unorganized over the last year as I bought new things and just shoved them in there wherever they fit, so we're going to reorganize everything in a way that makes sense. It was so noisy in my apartment today, you guys. The construction outside was next level, and there are forest fires happening on the prairies, and the smoke is blowing into southern Ontario, giving us really terrible air quality levels, so my air purifier was also going crazy, making so much noise. So we're gonna voice over this one. The first thing that I wanted to do was label these Too Faced concealers. I've only always used one brand of concealer at a time, and the shade names have always been numbers, so it was really easy to keep track of what shade of concealer I needed while I was working. But since the Makeup Forever concealers were discontinued and I've started switching over to these Too Faced ones, it's been really frustrating because they have names as shades and I never know which one is which, so I'm constantly having to swatch them on my hand for every single client, and it's so annoying and time consuming, and so I need to get them labeled. I gave each one a number ranking. The higher the number, the darker the shade, and I wrote down the shade name, the shade depth, and the undertone so I could figure them out without having to swatch them as I'm working. This is where I keep all of my backstock. It's mostly duplicates of things that I refill often and don't want to have to order every month, but is also a lot of stuff that I bought just because it was on sale and I know I'll use it at some point in the future. There's also things in here like lipsticks that I've half scraped into my portable lipstick container, just all kinds of backstock. There's also extra disposables in here like mascara and lip wands and all of my extra sponges and individual lashes, just all of my extra stuff. So we're gonna go through here today and filter some of this into my kit. But first I need to unpack some new organizers that I bought off Amazon. I knew I needed some more organization in here, so I bought a couple of different ones that I could use. I have a bunch of liquid lipsticks in my kit, but they just sort of float around and fit into wherever they can fit, either mixed in with my lip glosses or tucked in with my palettes, and because of this, I rarely use them on clients, and when I do, or when I want to, I can never find the one that I actually want when I want it. So I bought some little plastic organizers so that I can separate my liquid lipsticks and they can have their own little home, separate from the glosses especially because that's where they really get lost. But overall, just organized separately in their own separate little bag. It's just much neater and cleaner, and I'm so much happier with this. And then I went ahead and just did the same thing with my lip glosses. I have a bunch of different lip glosses, but really the one that I use almost every single time is this clear one from Glossier. It's so pretty and obviously just works with every single lip, whatever I choose. These were taking up prime real estate in my kit, so getting them out of there is gonna make room for something else so that I can get this more organized. And here I'm just showing you all of my depotted lipsticks. So I just scraped these out of the bullets and they're mostly Charlotte Tilbury. I think there's maybe one MAC lipstick in there. And then I tried to fit those lipsticks in with the lip glosses because I felt like that would save me a little bit of room, but alas, it did not fit. So we have one container for liquid lipsticks, one container for lip glosses, and then I have my lipsticks depotted separately. And I'm honestly in love with this. I know that this is gonna make things so much better and easier for me as I'm working going forward. These are the rest of my lipsticks. I have them depotted into this View Set case. This works well for me, so no changes here. These are a new addition to my kit. A friend of mine gave them to me last year, and the first time I tested them out on a client, I was blown away. They are cream blushes from Laura Mercier, and the texture of them is so lightweight. They blend into the skin like nothing. They blend so well over powders and other liquids, even though the colors are so vibrant. I also tried out these Rare Beauty blushes last year, and they are really pretty, and I was really happy with them at first, but once I tried the Laura Mercier ones, I decided I liked them better. So I have an old Glossier Cloud Paint. I almost never use it, but when the right skin tone comes along, it can be absolutely stunning. And this is another new addition I just bought. I've always used the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand for my liquid / cream bronzer / contouring product, but I wanted to try something new, so I picked up this Rare Beauty cream contour, and I've tried it out a few times now, and it's really, really nice. The color is great, and it blends really well. I'm organizing all of my cream / liquid products together over here where I was keeping my liquid lips and lip glosses was before. And then the last product that I showed before these mascaras was the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight Highlight. When one of your clients shows you an inspo picture with a super blinding highlight, that is the product you want to go for. It's really bright and blinding and photographs so well, so amazing, especially with flash photography. All right, I'm moving over to the right side here to deal with my concealers. Since I bought these Too Faced ones that are quite large, I've just had them tucked into different compartments wherever I could fit them in. But I want to get all of my concealers into one place, so I'm going to go ahead and just declutter a bit. I literally just had to get rid of 2 of these old Charlotte Tilbury concealers that have been taking up space and I never use because they're literally expired, and I could fit all of my concealers in one spot, which is huge. Big changes. I swapped out some bronzers here. The last couple of summers I've been using these ColourPop bronzers, but I didn't really like them. So I'm gonna replace them with ones from Makeup by Mario and Hourglass. This Hourglass bronzer is in the shade Luminous Bronze Light, and it's so pretty on the face, but also the shoulders and chest if someone has a little bit of a tan going on, because it's pretty glowy. So it has a really nice sheen on the body. It's so good. And the Makeup by Mario bronzer is in the shade Light and has more of a matte finish than the Hourglass one and is quite a few shades lighter for my more fair-skinned girlies. We're gonna do some eyeshadow decluttering next. First things first, this Urban Decay Naked Basics palette has seen its last day. I've been using this forever and it's lasted me really well, but it's time for it to go. I bought the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette to replace it, so I'm gonna swap those out. And then next, I have to tackle my Charlotte Tilbury palettes. I've been avoiding doing this. I have a bunch of these C2 quads that I've been using literally since I first started doing makeup on other people, and so my brain is just programmed to think about people's makeup in terms of the different looks that each of this palette makes on their own. But they are getting old, taking up too much space, and the colors are becoming less and less popular as the years go on. Plus, I have some new palettes to sub in, and I won't have room for them unless I get rid of most of these, so I have to make some cuts here. I kept the Uptown Girl because it has some soft grays in it that are hard to find in other palettes. This green Rebel palette is going. I've only used this once or twice on a client ever, and the shadows are starting to go bad. They're drying out and losing their pigment, so there's no reason to carry it around anymore. This purple toned one is Vintage Vamp. It's my first ever CT palette. I love this thing so much, but I bought this Chanel palette that has really similar tones, so I'm gonna swap them. Look at me debating so hard to keep them both because I'm so emotionally attached to it. This is exaggerated, probably my most used. I've gone through an entire one of these in the past and used up most of this one. If you want just one CT quad for your bridal kit, this is the one to get. But there are similar colors in my new palettes, and this one is mostly used up, so it's going. This is the Sophisticate, all matte shades, so I'm replacing this with the Master Mattes. These colors were always so hard to blend anyways, so I'm not too sad to be getting rid of this one. Golden Goddess is another amazing one that's really great for different skin tones, different ages. It's really versatile because it's neutral, but it has really flattering tones. Another top rec if you want just one of these palettes. It's basically used up though, so it's going. Here is Pillow Talk, as you can see, another really popular one for my business. I've gone through a whole other one of these palettes in the past as well. I debated getting rid of this one because in the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette that I bought, there is a light pink shade, but after swatching them together, the CT one is a lot warmer, and the warm pinky brown in here is very unique, as is the pink/gold Tauber shade, so I ended up keeping it in the end, so I have both. I had a fresh Dolce Vita palette in my backstock, so I'm going to swap out this old one with the brand new one. And speaking of backstock, I went through here and just pulled out a few things that I had in my reserves that I needed to replenish in my kit. I was out of my nude Sephora 12-hour eyeliner pencil. I use this on almost every single client, so I go through it pretty quickly. Here's a little look at everything I decluttered so far. The kit is looking a little bit more roomy. We've got some room to add some stuff in, and here's what I'm getting rid of. The next section that I'm going to go through is mostly powders. This one is from One Size. I looked for a long time for contour shades that would work for someone with very, very fair skin, and this palette is perfect for that. This is an Urban Decay bronzer/powder palette for deeper skin tones. It also has some creams in it, but these aren't my favorite formula, so I don't use them often. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm palette in the deeper shade. It has some good highlights and bronzers for deeper skin tones. This is the Shade and Light palette from KVD Beauty. It has really beautiful contour shades in here for all different skin tones and a few highlighting powders as well that I don't use super often, but I do sometimes. Next up, my powder blushes. So these are my Charlotte Tilbury powder blushes. In here I have Walk of No Shame, which is good for deeper skin tones. Another one that's good for deeper skin tones, this is Pillow Talk Intense. I'd say this is good for a medium to a medium deep. It's a little peachy, a little rosy, a really pretty color. First Love, which is nice and peachy for fair skin tones, and Pillow Talk, which is a more rosy shade with a nice glow, which works well for fair to medium skin tones. I bought this palette last year from Viseart. The formula of the powders is actually really unique. They're really, really hard packed into the pan, and they go on very pigmented, like a lot of color payoff, but they blend out more like creams. Once they get on the skin, it's really, really unique. They are very, very vibrant, and for the most part, I use them sparingly with a light hand, but for deep skin tones, it's amazing for getting some nice color and pigment onto the cheeks. Then I have this old Z palette with a few different items that I've depotted over the years or that came as individual pans. A lot of these I don't use, especially these little U-shaped shadows, which are from NARS. A lot of them have expired and don't work well anymore, so I ended up decluttering those. I also decluttered the dregs of the beautiful pink blush in there. I loved that color so much. It was also from Makeup Geek, and I'm sad to have used it up because that brand doesn't exist anymore. There's also an Urban Decay powder that I use to set if someone is allergic to the almond oil and the CT powders that I usually use, and another one of those ColourPop bronzers that I'm keeping as a matte option for more medium skin tones in case that's going to work better than the super glowy Hourglass bronzer that I added in here earlier. These are some other new additions. A friend of mine quit freelancing last year, so she was giving away a bunch of makeup. That's how I got those Laura Mercier cream blushes, and also where I got these ABH palettes from. In my opinion, ABH makes some of the best shadows on the market, so I added into my kit this Carly Bible x Anastasia palette and this Riviera palette for more vibrant, colorful tones, which I know I won't use often, but I'm sure will come in handy here and there. I put these in my kit near the end of last year, so I've been able to use the Carly Bible one a few times now, and there's a few shades in here that I'm reaching for almost every single appointment, so that was a good grab by me. Thank you, Jackie, for sharing. Okay, this I've had in my kit forever. This is one of the MAC baked powders, and I think this is in the color Lightscapade, and it's just a really nice subtle highlight for people who either don't like highlight or who have more mature skin with fine lines. It works really nicely for that. And then in contrast to that, I have this Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold highlight that is super vibrant, really reflective, so two different options for highlighting the face there. These are the holy grail of setting powders, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless setting powders. I have been using these for years. I've gone through so many of them. I'm actually just checking them here to make sure I don't need to purchase any new ones for the upcoming season because I go through so much of it. They're so good for setting the under eyes, so good for giving an airbrushed effect to the skin. I love these setting powders. A few years ago, a friend / mentor of mine started a makeup brand, and it was called Catherine Isabella. And my favorite products from the line were these cream blushes that she came out with. So I had bought a couple of them, and I've used up most of them, but I still have a little bit of this kind of reddy, rosy toned one. So I'm going to try and use that up this year because I feel like this is the last year it's going to be good before it goes off. Okay, this is the best thing that I did this whole day when I was reorganizing my kit. It's been a couple of weeks now. It's taking me forever to work on this video. So I've used my kit a few times in its new configuration, and taking these lash products out of my kit and putting them into this separate bag has just been absolutely game-changing for me. Usually, as I'm working with the lash glue, the lash curlers, the tweezers, the sharpener, these tools, as I use them, they end up just kind of scattered somewhere in my kit or somewhere on my workstation. And then the next time I go to use them on the next client, it takes me like a few seconds to locate them. So it's been so great to just have everything in this bright pink bag. I can always find the bag in like 2 seconds flat. As soon as I use something, I put it straight back into the bag, then I pull it back out, sanitize it, use it on the next client. And it's just been so good having those separate and having them in like that bright pink bag. I love it. Okay, in this little compartment right here, I have everything that comes in like a little jar. So my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadows, this what is this? Becca Under Eye Color Corrector, my gel eyeliners, my gel brow lift product, just like anything small that comes in little jars lives in here. The Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadows are something that I've been shouting about since I started doing makeup, basically. I love these products. I personally typically use them as bases. So I'll put down some eyeshadow primer, then I go in with the Eyes to Mesmerize, and then I'll go over top with powder shadows. And it helps the powder shadows stay on longer. It gives them more vibrancy. It looks so pretty having that extra sheen on the eye. If someone wants like a really soft light makeup look, sometimes I won't even go over top with the powder shadows. I know it won't be as long lasting that way, but sometimes people just prefer that, and I just love these products. So if you're looking for a cream shadow, the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize are great. I've been carrying this little case with bobby pins and hair ties around with me for literally 5 years. And there was a time where I would often need a bobby pin or need a hair tie, but I haven't used that in so long and it's taken up space, so it's coming out. And then for foundation, you guys, I think I forgot to show my full coverage foundations, but I keep them separately from this main part of my kit in the little backpack that I carry around with me. But in the kit, I like to keep a lighter coverage foundation. I use this for people who are afraid of full coverage or for people with more mature skin. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation. It is incredible, but it has been discontinued very sadly. Luckily, my friend warned me that I was being discontinued before it actually was, so I was able to buy a bunch of backups, and I still have one left, and majority of the ones in here are full from backups that I purchased. So we're good for a little while, but once these run out, I'm gonna be so sad. So my makeup kit is made up of my main kit, and then I also bring this backpack with me to all my jobs. I have space in one side for my water bottle, space in the other for my paper towel, and then inside the backpack I have a few little of these like cases that I bought off Amazon forever ago. And so inside here I have all of my lashes. I bring tons of different lashes with me to every job. I have half lashes, full strips, individuals, different levels of drama. I've got some Q-tips and some sponges. I don't use sponges often, but every once in a while I need one. And then some anti-bac wipes for just cleaning up my workspace when I first get there. Sometimes people don't clean and sanitize, so I like to just make sure everything's nice and ready to work off of. And then also in here, I have my foundations. So I do actually show these to you. I thought for a second there I didn't, but this is an assortment of different full coverage foundations. I went through a period of searching for a new foundation that I loved after my favorite Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation was discontinued. So I have a few different ones in there, but I've found my favorite foundation, which is the Lancome Tint Miracle Foundation. Tint Idol. I also have my light and a little palette in this backpack as well. And then in this front zipper pocket, I have my little hand mirror so that you can see your makeup when we're done. I spent a little bit of time just going through these foundations, making sure that they all still had product in them. The Charlotte Tilbury ones are definitely running low. I only have a few uses left in some of them. So yeah, I just went through and made sure that there weren't any empties in here that I could declutter. I also keep my Hollywood Flawless filter in with these foundations as well. Such a beautiful product for a soft, glowy, wet look to the skin. I moved it out of the foundations and added it in with my other primers. The other primers that I use are one from Stila, that's a color correcting primer, and then one from Clé de Peau, that is a brightening primer. Charlotte Tilbury wouldn't fit over here where I was keeping my primers before, so I ended up moving them over to the bottom corner where I previously had my tools, like my lash tweezers and sharpener and stuff, and they all fit in there perfectly. I decided to also add my eyeshadow primers in there as well. So my favorite eyeshadow primers are from Laura Mercier. These are the Eye Bases, I believe. I love these. They work so well. They blend so well. They come in different shades. They're my favorite. I've tried so many different eyeshadow primers and I always come back to these. I almost always use waterproof mascara for all of my clients, but on the off chance that someone wants a non-waterproof mascara, I carry this Essence mascara with me. I added that in with the primers as well, there was some space down there, and I actually switched out the one that I had in here because I had had it in there for a while and I had a backup, so I just wanted a fresh one. For waterproof mascara, lately I've been using the Maybelline Great Lash, an oldie but a goodie, a cult favorite for a reason. So here's how we're looking. I started to move some pieces around to fit everything back in. So in this little compartment on the left here, the Charlotte Tilbury quads that I'm keeping are in there, and I'm adding in the Makeup by Mario bronzer, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing powders, and my new Hourglass bronzer fit in there as well. Perfect fit for all of those. And then I just played around a little bit to fit in all of my palettes. So I have my eyeshadow palettes, my contour palettes, my blush palette, just every palette that I have needed to find a place to fit in here. So I just moved things around until I found a configuration that worked. And yeah, I was able to get everything in. As I was working, I ended up finding another shade of the Born This Way concealer, and so I needed to label it as well, like I had done with the other ones earlier. And then I couldn't fit it in with the rest of my concealers. I had them perfectly placed in there. So what I ended up doing was just swapping out these little jars. I don't know what to call these, like my little single individual jars. And I moved these up to where the concealers are and moved the concealers down to this bigger compartment, which obviously makes so much more sense. And then because I had extra room, I was able to add these other concealers from my backstock. These are another gift from Jackie. So these are Tarte concealers. They're really like a medium coverage, nice and hydrating. I've actually found them so great since I've been working with them for a lighter coverage if anyone wants or needs that, but also for mixing with the Too Faced concealers, because for a lot of people the Too Faced is too dry. It's a really full coverage matte concealer, which I personally love for myself, and also if for anyone who has more like normal to oily skin. But yeah, if you have any like skin on the drier side, they can just be too dry. So yeah, I just checked the colors to make sure that they weren't repeats of colors that I had in here in some of the other formulas, and added them in as well, and they've been a great addition. I like to keep some of these little silica bags in my kit just to absorb any moisture and help keep my products fresh. And then I needed to find space to put these bags because now I had taken these products out of my kit and I need to somehow figure out a way to move them back in. So I played around with carrying them in my backpack, but I didn't like that. So I ended up just adding them to the top zipper where I was keeping some of my extra palettes before. And they fit perfectly in there. The bag still closes nicely, and they're easy to access as I'm working when I need them. So to all of my jobs, I bring my kit, my backpack, and then also this gorgeous little carrying case, which is perfect, and what I call, in my mind, all of my liquids. So in the side here, I have some little jars and applicators for giving my clients a little bit of lipstick if they need it for touch-ups throughout the day. In the front pocket here, I have a little view set container that I keep my cotton rounds in. So I have to refill this pretty frequently because it's pretty small, but it's also very compact, which I enjoy. And then on the other side here, I have some gems. So I had a client request a gemmed look once, and I had to order all of these gems, and I've barely ever used them. I used these on that one client who had requested them, and then I think one other time since then when I was getting someone ready for the Taylor Swift concert, which was fun. But I bring them with me just in case because I have them and I have the space for them, and if anybody ever wants a gem, I got you. And this is where the magic happens, baby. Everything that I use for skin prep. So first of all, these are incredible. The First Aid Beauty Facial Radiance Pads with glycolic and lactic acid, safe for sensitive skin. Not everybody exfoliates their skin nicely, so this is a nice gentle exfoliation that we can do before we start if someone has textured skin or dead skin or dry skin. I also recently picked up some eye patches. I have found that when I'm going from bridesmaid to bridesmaid to bridesmaid, I don't necessarily have the time to open these and fiddle with them and get them onto every single bridesmaid. But if I have less clients in a day or a single client, I've been making good use of them. I also have my alcohol. This is the One Size Until Dawn Mattifying Setting Spray, the new star of my makeup kit over the last couple of years. This is incredible for making makeup last. I also have a Supermodel body, which is like a body glow, body makeup. I don't get to use this very often because people need to be dressed when you're applying this, and I'm not often there when people are getting dressed. This is another thing that I got from Jackie, Glow Recipe Watermelon Niacinamide Dew Drops. If someone has drier skin and is looking for a glow, I use those. This is not airbrush setting spray. I used the airbrush setting spray and I didn't like it, but I did like the applicator. The little spray nozzle on here is a lot nicer than the Urban Decay one, which is what's actually in here. Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, the GOAT. This is a little container of micellar water that I just refill as needed so that I don't have to bring a giant container of micellar water around with me. I also have my Cinema Secrets brush cleaner, a magic product from heaven. I have it in a Dante brush cleaner bottle, but it's not. It's Cinema Secrets. I've got some hand sanitizer in here, of course. This is Dermablend. It's a full coverage body makeup. I bought this because I was doing my friend's makeup for her wedding and she wanted me to cover a tattoo on her body. Personally, I don't like doing tattoo cover-ups because I can never get the tattoos completely covered, and I'm always so worried about the makeup transferring onto people's dresses or people's suits. Like if you have something on your arm and you're hugging someone, you're gonna get that all over them. So I usually try to talk people out of covering their tattoos, but if they have the same skin tone that Sabrina had and they want something covered on their body, then I'll use that. I also have mascara ones, and then this is a moisturizer from Rephr. It's a really light water-based, I believe, moisturizer. You guys know I love the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream as my primer slash moisturizer for almost all of my clients, but every once in a while I come across someone who has super oily skin or who doesn't want a super glowy base, and so I'll use that Rephr moisturizer in that instance instead. I also recently started carrying around this Tatcha Dewy Luminous Skin Mist. I don't really like that as a setting spray because it just makes everything super glowy all over, but it's nice as a priming product sometimes. I bring a little container of, what is that, body cream with me in case anybody needs a little moisturizer on their body. It's a really nice scent from Jo Malone. And then this is the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, which goes along with my skin prep. Everyone gets a lip mask while we do the rest of our makeup, and then at the end I wipe it off and apply their lipstick. Last but not least, we have the oh so wonderful and magical cream from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I have gone through so many jars of this. I think this is the best hack for getting people the nicest looking foundation. It makes makeup go on so smoothly, gives such a beautiful finish to the skin, is really nice and hydrating. I love it. I love, love, love Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. And there we have it, my loves, my 2025 kit tour, kit declutter, and kit reorganization. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, interesting. I know I love seeing inside other people's kits. When I'm working, I'm always being nosy, going over to see what other people have. So I hope you guys got a little bit of that feeling today. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching. See you in a new video very soon.